Good evening. Welcome to World Kidney News. I am your host, Steve Belcher. Today, you see me in the raw. No green screen, no nothing. Just my background where I'm at. So, welcome to our audience that's watching tonight. We got a great show on World Kidney News tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking about benefits of home dialysis during the coronavirus, the benefits and the disadvantages. Also, we got Don P. Edwards from the iPro ESRD network of New York, the COVID-19 task force. She's going to tell us what's going on up in New York and around the country pertaining to the COVID-19 and dialysis. Before we bring Dawn on, I'd like to thank our sponsor and partner, the Kibo, the maker of Renadil. Now, this product, I have to tell you, this product has not been evaluated by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or to prevent any disease. Now, with that being said, this dietary supplement is a game changer. It's a game changer for people with low kidney function, renal deficiency, or kidney problems. Now, what happens with this product, right? It does intestinal dialysis. And you may say, Steve, what is intestinal dialysis? We heard of kidney dialysis, but what is intestinal dialysis? Well, intestinal dialysis is a unique approach to maintaining healthy kidney function. It uses probiotics and prebiotics in the gut, gastrointestinal, GI, stomach, in that system to support healthy kidney function. So what's happening, these prebiotics and probiotics are eating up the nitrogenous waste and all the unhealthy bacteria, and then that's being eliminated through the stools. You have to take a 90-day, 3-month supply in order to see some effectiveness. It may work, it may not. Everybody's different, but there's been many positive testimonies on this product. And Dad Vice TV, who was on our show, he got a YouTube page, over 65,000 followers, uses this product as well. He went from GFR of 8 to 37. Not because of that product. He did that before the product, but this product, Renadil, just helps him maintain that GFR. So with that out the way, let's bring on our contributing consultant to Urban Health Outreach Media, World Kidney News, Don P. Edwards. What's going on, Don?
Hey, good evening, everyone. Happy Sunday.
Hey, happy Sunday to you as well. So how's it going up there in New York
Right.
with you?
Yes, it's cold and rainy today, so I'm not feeling my best. But
No, I
that's how it
understand.
is. We
It's
go.
the same down here in DC. It's been raining, chilly, overcast.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, we gonna press our way in spite of that.
right. So let me just say good evening to Leslie. Thanks for joining. And Dad Vice TV, kidney coach. And he even says about Renadil, the best way I can describe how Renadil works is it works. It lowered my BUN creatinine after this 3 months. And I'd just like to thank
That's fantastic.
Chapanika. Thank you for joining. Don, you use Renadil as well, right?
Right, right. I've been using it. I'm just about done with my third month supply.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, I do have some different intestinal issues than everyone else. So I haven't noticed like that huge difference in my creatinine and BUN. Everything is still good, but I do notice that I have less problems with my digestion, and I feel like overall I feel a lot better. So I and my labs are really, really good.
Oh,
So
that's
I have to
awesome.
say, yeah, I have to say that it was worth the 3 months, trying it out. And it's something that I think I may continue as well.
Okay. Okay, that's awesome. Now, let's before we talk about home dialysis, because that's a big topic. We see a lot of companies are switching gears and trying to rev up their home dialysis program. Let's talk about what's going on with the iPro ESRD network of New York COVID-19 task force. I know for the last several shows, you've been giving us updates bi-weekly about what's been going on in New York. I know your first report, you talked about people, dialysis staff leaving, supplies were running short.
Yeah.
Uh, a bunch of patients were coming up positive for the COVID-19. They were talking about having different units designated as COVID-19. So what's going on with everything? The update.
Well, it's still we're still in the belly of the beast up here in New York. COVID-19 is spreading. It's still hot up here. We're right in the midst. They calling this ground zero again. And on my last report, I believe I reported, as far as dialysis patients were concerned, that we were just about to break 1,000 patients in New York State with who had tested COVID-19 positive. And as of Thursday of this past week, those numbers have increased to 1,785 patients who have tested positive for COVID-19. And that's for the entire New York State. Out
Repeat
of
that number
those
again.
1,785.
Patients, dialysis patients.
That's correct. Dialysis patients tested positive.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Now, out of those patients, this is the breakdown. We have 659 of them in the hospital. There are 797 positive patients that are currently receiving treatment in dialysis centers. So they are in the dialysis centers among other patients. There are 13 home dialysis patients reported who are at home and self-monitoring. Um they're still doing their home dialysis treatments, and they are at home.
Mm-hmm.
There are 494 patients that are suspected but not yet confirmed, and a total of 372 deaths
Mm.
in New York State. 372 patients have passed away from COVID-19 in New York
Wow.
State total.
Wow.
As far as our staff is concerned, which is another problem, there are currently 244 dialysis staff members who have tested
244.
positive, and 244 who have
Wow.
tested positive, confirmed. And as we know of, there are two staff members deceased.
Wow.
Correct.
Wow.
So that's the
And
latest
this is just
update.
in New York.
This is just New York State
Wow. And
alone.
now, is there, by you being on this task force and how there's 18 networks, is there any type of national numbers that you have access to know what's happening in other networks?
I've been waiting for that information to come down. Currently, CMS has that information and hasn't been released publicly. But as soon as I get access to those, I will share them with you. What I can say is, although New York State is ground zero for this right now, they are predicting that this virus, as it spreads, it may be New York today, it may be Detroit, Chicago, any other city tomorrow. So just because you have a lot of cases in your state, or just because your governor is releasing restrictions, that is not an excuse for you to slight protecting yourself, especially when you're going out into the clinic or out into the world. We still have to reserve our social distancing and our necessary hygiene in order to prevent uh, from being infected. That goes for dialysis and transplant patients alike. I read
Now,
an article today. Uh huh.
no, I was going to
I
ask
I
now. Now, I'm sorry. How long is that going to last? I mean, practice social distancing for how long? I mean, what gives us the all clear that this is the end of social distancing? That's always been my case. People talk about, and I understand that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not no dummy.
mm-hmm.
But at what point? At what point do we say turn off the switch? Okay, we can stop the social distancing, pull up the tape markers off the floor in the supermarkets and the 7-Elevens or wherever. At what point does that stop, Don? Or is this the dawning of a new era?
You know, from what I've been reading and what I understand is that we're going to be doing this for quite some time. Uh, the professionals have said that until there is uh, um, uh, um, a shot or some type of cure or preventative measures come into play for this, or
Sure.
until right, and until there's a vaccine for it, or until
Which I
people
won't
stop
take.
dying, until people stop dying at the rates that we currently have, we still gonna have to observe these measures. I think that
Mm-hmm.
for right now, this is going to be the new normal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Now, you mentioned something that just can take us right into our next topic. You said you feel that this is going to be around for a long time. And with that being said, how can the benefits of home dialysis during this time come into play?
Well, Steve, home dialysis benefits come into play not only during this time of pandemic, but during any type of emergencies that can take place. It's just that we don't think about it because we're not faced with it on a regular basis. I'm sure that the patients in Florida would definitely agree with me, or the patients in Puerto Rico, or some of those states where we've had not only pandemics, but we've had national or natural disasters, which have impeded dialysis services. And when you have your treatments at home, there's no interruption of service. You don't have to change your schedule. You get your supplies. You have your supplies. You have your backup. You have your reserve. But specifically during this time, when we're so concerned with who's next to us, who's touching us, does this technician have it? Does the nurse have it? Does the patient that I usually talk to in the waiting room have it? I think it's ever so important to start the discussion about considering or listening to more discussion about home dialysis, because it's not for everyone. And I don't want anybody to think that just because I do it, I think everybody should do it, because I mean, that just doesn't make sense. We're always going to have the need for dialysis centers. However, there are people who could do their dialysis treatments at home and could absolutely benefit from the results that you will get from doing your treatments at home.
Don, James Fabian, aka Dad Vice TV,
Hmm.
kidney health coach and kidney disease uh, mentor, he asks, are there any additional things dialysis patients can do to better protect themselves while getting treatment?
Well, what the CDC has recommended, and what most, I would hope all dialysis facilities are observing at this time, is that every patient upon entering the dialysis facility has their temperature taken. Any temperature that is 100.4 or above, they are put under investigation. Number two, they are requiring that every patient wear a
Don,
mask. Yes,
Don, sorry, let me interrupt you for a second. I'm sorry, you can go
sure,
back. I just got breaking
sure.
news. Uh, Leslie Duvall, she mentioned she's in the hospital right now with COVID-19 and pneumonia on an isolation floor, and even the doctors are not coming in my room. Leslie,
They do not. They cannot. Yeah.
our thoughts and
My God.
prayers are with you. God bless you for even
Absolutely.
watching the show from your hospital room while you battling this is amazing, and
Yes.
thank you so much. I mean, God bless you. I'm just humbled that she's watching this show battling COVID-19 and
God bless
pneumonia.
her. You are you are in your we are in our prayers, Leslie. And just because I read this information, let me tell you, there are patients who have recovered. So you continue to fight, you be strong, and stay prayed up, and we're praying for you. You will beat this.
Absolutely.
You can. It has happened. It has happened.
Yes, yes. Jeremy is sending prayers out to you. Um, definitely. We're definitely going to be thinking about you during this broadcast. You're actually, to be honest, the first person that I know, far as dialysis or kidney disease wise, uh, with this. And so my heart and prayers and thoughts is definitely out to you. And I know God will bring you through this. He didn't bring you this far to let you down. Absolutely. So go
What
ahead,
what
Don.
what state is Leslie in?
She's in Georgia.
What state is Leslie
She's
in?
in Georgia.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, she may be at
Okay.
Emory. I know that's where she had her transplant.
God
So
bless her.
yeah.
Yeah. You
Um,
know,
but what was you saying? I'm sorry. What we were
I, I
talking.
I don't know. I'm thinking about Leslie now. I I
I'm
believe I was
sorry.
saying, talking about the benefits of home, and how
No,
you
you were
don't have
talking
these
about,
change.
no, we were talking about Dad Vice uh had asked
Oh, yes, yeah,
additional things that dialysis patients can do to better
to
protect
protect
themselves.
themselves. Right.
And you mentioned the
Yeah. So if
temperatures.
right, if a patient gets a temperature taken and their temperature's 100.4 or higher, they're placed under investigation, and they are, if they have a COVID uh, shift, that patient will be moved to the COVID shift
Oh,
or
she's in Piedmont
transferred to a,
Hospital.
oh, okay.
That's in
Uh,
Atlanta.
or they will be sent to a COVID facility, which we have set up here in New York. We have specific facilities just for COVID patients, but they would be sent to the hospital for testing. Uh, every patient is required to wear a mask during treatment, and that's to protect others and themselves. But to dad advice, it's a great question, but to be completely honest, there is no other way to protect patients because dialysis
Hmm.
is done in a room full of, 10 to up in New York, we have a facility that does 55 patients at a time, plus
What?
staff members. Yeah, we have a super
55
unit.
patients?
We have a 55 patient unit here in New York. We have
And
55 and a 53 station unit,
and wait a minute, and that operates how many days a week?
6 days a week, 4 shifts.
What? Are you serious?
That's correct.
No,
One of them is
but
in
but
Brooklyn
but
and the
look at
other
this.
one's in Queens.
But let's look at this. If we did 55, right,
Times
times
4.
4 shifts, if they filled up all 55 chairs each shift, that's
Correct.
220 patients every Monday,
Per
Wednesday,
unit.
Friday. And if that was 6 days a week, like on Tuesday, if they had all them filled up, that's like 440 patients just in that unit alone.
Just in that unit. And believe it or not, there's another unit, within, you show on your Facebook, there's another unit within 1 mile radius.
What? Wow.
Yes.
Now, let me just ask you this before we move on. Uh, what has iPro mentioned about, or have they mentioned anything about new dialysis patients being started because of this COVID-19? Because you see these news articles and stuff like patients getting kidney
Yeah.
failure because of COVID-19. What's going on with that? Have y'all seen an increase in patients because of that up there?
That is happening as well. There have been several articles that say that the COVID-19 patients that are on respirators go into acute kidney failure, or they have acute kidney injury. A lot of them, they're trying to do urgent start peritoneal dialysis so that they can go home and they don't have to flood the dialysis units, which are already packed to capacity. And some of them, yes, as they recover, if they require ongoing dialysis, are having to go to the dialysis facility. So, yes, there is an increase
Mm-hmm.
in
And
dialysis patients as a result.
sure, and I guess also, some comorbidities may play along with this. Like
Absolutely.
somebody say for instance, if you had a person that maybe had diabetes for 15 or 20
Correct.
years, type 2, or high blood pressure. They may be
Correct.
more susceptible if they got COVID-19 to get acute kidney injuries because of diabetes that probably already played a back role in
Correct.
damaging some of the vessels in the kidneys and the eyes and down to the feet. If that person didn't manage it or control that blood sugar.
Exactly. And this is just what we talk about on Urban Health all the time, about how many people are walking around in stage 2, stage 3, undiagnosed. And it takes a simple thing like the flu, the common flu, coronavirus, heart attack, stroke, to wipe those kidneys out and force you in urgent dialysis.
Absolutely, I've seen
So
it
this
all
is
the
why it's
time.
so important. Yeah, we see this every day. Kidney disease doesn't stop, and
Exactly, exactly.
more and more people are being forced into dialysis urgently now because of this surge in this virus.
Hmm. Now let's talk about, if somebody's watching, guys, if you're watching this broadcast and if you're thinking about home dialysis, this is the expert of home dialysis we have on here tonight, Don P. Edwards, health ambassador, kidney disease advocate, kidney disease warrior, almost up to 30 years of dialysis experience. I mean, uh, just what all the above. But
Yeah, that's what I say. Been there, done that.
yeah, absolutely. But let's just kind of tap into some of the benefits if people watching and maybe been sitting on the fence or uh, want to know what dialysis is, or they don't know if they had the space, or everything that goes along with that, to try to help people understand how this may be beneficial to them if they're able to do it medically and don't have any medical issues that will prevent them from going home and doing it. Outside of that, this would be probably the best treatment for a person because, one, you're like, instance for you, Don, you do what, 5 hours
Hmm.
a night,
I do 6.5 hours
and
every
each
other
night.
night.
So we're
Every
talking
other,
about 18, 19 hours a week of treatment.
it's pretty. Sometimes some weeks is 4 days a week. The other week is 3 days a
but
week.
but
So
pretty
it's
much
kind of,
it's around
yeah.
20 to 24 hours a week,
Right.
whatever you decide.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
now getting 20 to 24 hours a week opposed to someone getting 9 hours a week. Can you touch briefly on the difference of quality of life in the long run of a treatment from someone going in the center doing 9 hours? That's 3 hours, 3 days a week, compared to you doing 20 to 24 hours a week. Can you just share briefly the benefits of that type of treatment?
Well, the first thing that I can tell you is uh, that the more dialysis that you get, the cleaner your blood is, and the better you will feel. It's just That's just the facts. Um, when I was on in-center dialysis, I was doing 4 hours 3 times a week, and I felt horrible most of the time, especially on the treatment days. After dialysis treatment, I always felt bad, and then I would feel okay a little bit the second day sometimes. However, when I started doing my treatments more often, I noticed that my blood work started getting better. My KT over V, which is the dialysis adequacy, started to improve. And the better those numbers looked, the better I felt. When I started dialysis on 3 times a week, I was so miserable and wiped out that I quit my job because I wasn't able to maintain employment and continue to do dialysis. So I went on
Mm-hmm.
disability. And if I had known then what I know now, or if I had started doing dialysis at home initially, I would have never quit my job because I definitely would be able to maintain under the circumstances that I am now. There's no comparison to the way that dialysis in the dialysis center is and the treatment that you get at home. I used to call in-center dialysis violent because that's how it felt. I felt like I got beat up.
Right,
But when
right,
you do but on peritoneal dialysis as well as home hemodialysis, of which I've done both, there are no side effects. You don't have any of those feelings like you used to have when you were on in-center dialysis.
right. Let's
It's
take
just better.
right, right. Let's take a look. Now, this is your machine, correct?
Yes, that's exactly what my equipment looks like. And you see it's right next to my bed. And I live in New York, so everybody know. And I'm not rich. I live in the hood in New York. I have a very small bedroom. It's not even the master bedroom because I live with my mom, and I'm in the room next door to her, which is about the size of somebody's maybe a nursery. But I fit my machine right next to my bed, and
So
that's where it is.
you sleep right there, and wait. So you hook yourself up. The lines are on the bed, and you just can. How do you reach the machine in the bed? The front of the machine.
That the machine is on a turntable, so I just turn it around. After I set it up, I turn it around to face me while I'm in bed, and I can push any buttons that I need to, or I can control that machine right from my bed. I just reach my hand right over.
Uh huh. Right. And so you pre-program it and everything before you get in the bed.
Yeah, everything is set up. Once I get in the bed, um and I mean, if there was a need to, I mean, I can stand up. There's enough line for me to stand up. Let's say if I drop something on the floor or something like that, there's enough line for me to stand up and do what I need to do. But for the most part, once I hook up and I'm in the bed, I'm going to sleep.
Right. Right. And so the machine stops by itself when it's
Right.
finished.
For the peritoneal dialysis machine, it just stops and it stays silent. But for
And this is
hemodialysis,
an example of a
right,
PD machine, right?
right, that's the PD cycler.
Right.
But for
Right.
my machine, when my treatment is over, the machine alarms, it wakes me up, and I disconnect, and you don't even have to break everything down at that minute. I disconnect and I turn over and I go back to sleep if that's what I'm going to do, or I get up and I go to work in the morning.
Right. Now, tell us about this right here. What is this we're looking at?
Okay, that's the hallway that leads to my bedroom, and those are my dialysis supplies. Now, that's a lot of supplies because I ordered extra because of the situation here in New York. So I would say that's about 2.5 months supply right there.
Mm-hmm.
So you could picture, maybe I get about 8 boxes that last me a month.
Now, now, Don, what would you say to somebody that says, "I live in a one-bedroom flat or a studio apartment, and they want to do home dialysis, but they don't have any room to put this type of stuff in"? What would you suggest to them?
Well, I know a lot of patients take their supplies out of the boxes and put them in Rubbermaid totes and stack them on top of one another, or you know, um, you can take them out and put them in a drawer. Some people use a dresser drawer and put their supplies in. Those 99-cent stores have those great little storage things you can buy to put your supplies in. And one of the things that you should always remember, the nurses and the staff at the in the home dialysis program, they are experts in helping you to organize your supplies and helping you to find space to put your supplies. You would be surprised. They have boxes you can slide under the bed, closets. You would be surprised. And
Mm-hmm.
personally, if I had to take my mattress and lay it on top of those boxes, I would do that as opposed to going back to the dialysis center.
Okay, let's take a look at this picture. Now, this can you
Right.
describe what this is?
Okay, now that is all of my other supplies. The boxes that you saw are where my cassettes are, which is the dialyzer and the tubing,
Wait a
as
minute.
well.
Wait a minute.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Show that picture of the
Oh,
set that you're talking
okay.
about.
So this is what's in one of those boxes. This is what you get inside there. You get six of these in one box. So that's six treatments. Every time you do treatment, you use a new one of these. And this is your dialyzer and your tubing. It all comes attached together, and you drop this down inside of the machine, close the door, and you connect your lines. So all of this is just clean. It's not sterile because it's no need for it to be sterile, because no blood comes into contact with your machine or your lines. None at all. So every time you treat, you use a new one of these. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things that's in the boxes. The other box contains this, which is a bag that goes inside your dialysis machine, and it connects to your water source. And this is a gel in this bag that mixes with tap water and provides you with the dialysate that you need for treatment. So you get two of these in every box, and you get six of these cassettes in every box.
Okay. Okay. Now let's go back and take a look at this.
Oh, okay. So now that is what you get from the medical supply company. If you see closely, um, you'll see all of this, all that dial soap, hand sanitizer, alcohol, gloves, masks, needles, everything that I need to do my treatment uh, is is on that shelf.
Okay.
And you get those supplies delivered to you monthly. You tell them how much you need, and they send it to you. So as you can see, I'm well stocked during the pandemic. Um,
Wow. You
and
got
I
masks.
That's correct. I have masks, I have gloves, sanitizer, antibacterial soap,
So you
bleach.
you better prepare than some of the patients that go to the dialysis clinics, because they get one mask for the whole week, and then gotta some places and gotta turn it in at the end of the week to get a new one. I know a guy
Yes.
who takes his family member, and that's what they do.
Yeah. That's what they do. They give you a paper bag and tell you to store your mask in a paper bag and bring it back to dialysis with you. But
And
I already
you
I
had
already
a
have my supplies.
right. That's what I'm saying. You're fortunate enough that you can use one each day if you wanted to.
Every treatment I use a new mask. Correct.
Right. Wow. But you
And
really don't. I mean, you really don't have to if you
no,
don't want to, right? But
no,
you had that privilege of doing it.
that's correct.
Wow.
That's correct.
Wow.
And
That's
you
a
you
big
see down
benefit to
on the
doing home
bottom,
dialysis.
yeah, I have plenty of chucks, paper towels. These are things that are part of my treatment.
Alcohol
So,
wipes,
oh, I got alcohol wipes for days. All of these
sanitizer
things.
wipes.
Oh, sanitizers. I have a scale. I have a pressure machine, a stethoscope, so that I can listen to my access. A flashlight. You get an emergency kit, so you have a flashlight, clamps.
Mm-hmm.
You get heparin, or anything that you need to do dialysis. Anything they have in the dialysis center, I have it here in my house.
Right. Now, let's talk about some of the benefits and compare and contrast. Now, one big thing is transportation. That's a
It's a
big one
big deal.
because a lot of warriors sometimes can't make treatment because of transportation, and if they're late, their treatment time get cut. Even if they're 15 minutes late, I've been in a position where I had to tell a patient I had to cut their time because they was late because it would have affected the next shift. But um, instead of people going through that, if you did it at home, you wouldn't have to worry about trying to rush the treatment because you could just sit at home and do it, right?
No, no, and the thing about it is, you do it anytime you feel like it. Wait, maybe I'm going on a date and I don't feel like doing treatment at night, or maybe I'm going to a party or whatever. I do my
Or
treatment when it's
barbecue.
convenient for me. Exactly. Family reunion time, or, like you said, a barbecue, whatever. I want to play cards, or, I want to hang out over at my sister's house. I want to spend the night over there. I do my treatment either beforehand or I do my treatment when I come back.
Right. You don't have to be a slave to the unit and work around their time.
No, my time belongs to me, and it's very, very precious. You know me, Steve. I'm out in the street all day. I'm visiting dialysis centers. I'm going to meetings. I'm doing conference calls. I'm busy,
You wouldn't be
and
able
I'm
to do that
able
if
to
you was
do
doing
that.
dialysis and if you went in the in center.
I I have to tell you, I'm 165 pounds, and with a 3.5 hour dialysis treatment, I wouldn't be able to do any of the things that I'm doing now.
Yeah, because you're
It's
all
just not
over the place. You
enough.
got a lot of energy.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to do any of these things.
Right. And I mean, the second benefit, and we kind of like leaped into it, is the schedule. Uh, when one has to get
Yeah.
discharged from the hospital, uh, the case manager, normally what happens when a person goes in the hospital and then they get discharged and they try to find a unit, say if they're working, then they got to find a unit that got an evening shift or morning shift, and they may not be able to find that, and they have to uh, go with what the clinic has open.
Right.
Correct?
And I say this to our young people all the time. If you get diagnosed, say you crash into dialysis, don't quit your job. Explore all of your treatment options first. Because if you do home dialysis, I guarantee you could keep your job. You do not have to quit your job. Social Security gives you a couple of a couple of $100, $1,000 a month that you have to live on. Would you rather live on that or your salary that you get from working?
Right,
That was a
right.
big, that was a big, big, big mistake that I made. I made a big mistake by going on disability too
Because you
soon.
work for the post office.
That's right. I worked for the post office. I had excellent benefits, pension, and actually, I would be retiring from the post office this year if I hadn't quit.
Wow.
I would be
Well,
retiring with full benefits.
I mean, it's a silver lining because if you were still working for the post office, you wouldn't be doing this interview right now and doing what you're doing.
Well, that's true. We know that God always has his plan. He makes things happen for a reason. But I'm trying to save other people because by me doing that, my daughter had to suffer a lot, being a single mom. I couldn't afford to give her the things that I would have liked to. I had to take her out of private school and send her to public school. I didn't get my own car until I was 40 years old because I just
Mm,
couldn't afford it. I had to come
right,
back
right.
home and live with my mother. You know, I haven't had my own place since I was in my 20s. So
Wow.
a lot of adjustments had to be made, because of this disease. And so that's why it's so
Mm,
important for me to share with other people, not they don't have to go down the path that I did.
mm. Now, um, caregiver, that's another big one as well. Uh, you got some people who may not have somebody at home to help them out do this, or they may not feel comfortable doing it by themselves. What would you uh, say to someone who worries about having a partner to help them out?
I have two things to say about that. Number one is peritoneal dialysis is so simple, gentle, and easy to do that you don't need anybody. People have been doing peritoneal dialysis by themselves for decades. That was the first home therapy that I used, peritoneal dialysis. It's so easy to do until a child can do it. And actually, peritoneal dialysis is what they do use for children and infants that have kidney disease. Secondly, as far as home hemodialysis is concerned, the FDA has approved solo dialysis, uh, at home hemodialysis for some patients. Some patients don't need any help. It's once you get on the machine, there's really nothing else for you to do but sit there until treatment is over. Um, so everybody doesn't need a helper.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need a helper. My mother's in the house, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't require any help for treatment.
Wow.
And
But then you
and I
mentioned she
and
makes your packs.
y- that that's something that she does to help me because she's real precious. But she sits down while she's watching General Hospital, and she puts together these little packets for me, and
What's
she
in those
pulls out
packs?
all the. Okay, I'll show you. In here, I have a chuck and my syringes. This is what
Hold
I
that up a
use
little bit more.
to ask.
Okay, right there.
These Yeah, these are the syringes. I use that for heparin, for because I have a catheter, so I have to take a loading dose of heparin, and after treatment is over, I flush my catheter with heparin, and these two are to aspirate my catheter before I start treatment. So
So
these
you
are
have a
10
catheter.
milliliter syringes. Yes,
So people could come
I have
home
a
with a
catheter.
catheter and do dialysis?
Absolutely, absolutely. As a believe it or not, there are more patients that do home dialysis with catheters than vascular accesses, catheter grafts and fistulas. So yeah, definitely.
But I thought that
Um,
they were wanting patients to get catheters removed because of the high rate of infections.
well, you learn how to take care of it. If that's the access you got and you want to go home, you go home.
Right.
They don't. It doesn't count in the national averages for a dialysis center for a catheter for a home patient. That's why they want you to get them out so bad in the dialysis center because they count, but it doesn't count at home.
Wow.
This is my I don't let me see if you can see this. These are clear guards. These are caps that go on my catheter to prevent infection. So inside that little cap is chlorhexidine, and
Right. Right.
you put them on your cap, one red and one blue, and they prevent any dirt or bacteria or anything from getting inside your catheter.
Wow.
So that's what mommy wraps those up for
So
me.
that's all in the
So all I
pack
have to
is those
do,
caps,
oh,
syringes, any alcohol or
yep,
th-
there's my alcohol pads,
wow.
uh, my needles.
And do
This
you have
is
any
for,
boxes of masks near you?
yep, I have, let's see, uh, no, I got a couple of loose masks right nearby.
Right.
We don't
Right.
we don't wrap those up. We just leave them in the box so that we don't
Uh-huh. And you got
so we don't
plenty of
have to
hand
fool with them.
sanitizer.
All that stuff is right next to my bed. Sanitizer, my soap,
Can we see a hand
disinfectant.
sanitizer?
Sure.
Like your shelf, just to show people the benefits that they can have if they did home dialysis, that they could have access to this supplies as well and not have to worry about the dialysis
Right.
unit
So
going in there and
all
washing their access if they don't have any soap.
now all of this is right next to my bed. Let's see if
Okay.
you can see. You see these containers here?
Right.
All of this is right next to my bed. I got alcohol, um, my soap. I have wipes. I got my. Can you guys see?
Not really. Hold the phone that
Uh,
down. Yeah, there you go.
is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is all my quick stuff that I use every night, and
And
all
what's
I
to the
gotta do
right?
is reach.
Is that your supply shelf?
No, this is my junky desk over
Oh,
here.
okay, okay.
Okay, but here's my box of gloves.
Oh,
I got
okay.
all of that right here, and then I'm gonna take a walk into the room next door. The room next door is where all my other supplies are kept, and I'll show you how much supplies that I ordered. Hang on. Okay, so there's my supply shelf,
Wow. Wow. Look at all that soap.
and
And what's that next to the soap to the left?
this is sanitizer.
Let me see. Hold it up. Wow. Wow. So you
And
got a lot of that.
yeah, right now I have about 6 bottles,
Wow.
6 bottles of that. Uh,
And
this
what's that stuff at the
soap.
top to the
This is
left?
this
Is that a
this is
alkavase or
that. There
sepsis
you go. That's Alcavis and Accept.
epsep?
So
Okay.
I use Alcavis. I use Alcavis. I can clean hard surfaces with that, like wipe off the outside of my machine and everything with that. And
Right.
I use the Accept on my skin around my catheter exit site.
Right. That has sodium chloride in it, right?
Right, correct. Right.
Okay.
Here is, look at all of these paper towels. Look at all of this.
Can you move up a little close? Wow. Yes.
Paper towels in here. Uh Here's gloves.
Right.
Gloves. Uh
And you got
Here,
all this
alcohol. All this is alcohol.
in those boxes right there.
All that is alcohol.
Wow.
Here is 4x4s, needles,
Right.
masks. Here's masks, four
Those
by
the masks.
fours, needles, all of
Wow.
this. When I had my graft, all of this is, Steve, you know what this is.
Oh, the needles.
Yep. I got a whole case full
Oh,
of
wait a minute.
those.
Put that up to the camera. There you go. Wow. Wow.
Yep. So I got a whole case full of those. They give me boxes of needles and syringes, and all this is supplies.
Wow. So you ain't got to
That's
worry about no mask or no hand sanitizer or anything. You
abs-
straight.
absolutely nothing. All this down here, that's all Chucks.
Okay.
Chucks and paper towels.
Wow. Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
and you get
so
all that for doing home dialysis.
that's what you get. Everything that you need. There's 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 nothing, and you don't run out. Every month you order your supplies, and they make sure that you have enough. So now that we're going through this shortage, I'm not affected because I have what I need.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't have to worry about going into the unit and social distancing and all that. Uh,
I don't know. It's not necessary for me.
wow.
No, not necessary. I um I can do a Zoom meeting with my nurse if I need to. If I'm not feeling well or whatever, I give the nurse a call. We can set up a Zoom meeting. The doctor will the doctor can come on, and we have our meetings like that. So I don't even have to go into the unit for clinic.
So I mean, if anybody's thinking about home dialysis, this would be the best time to probably start seeking into it, Don, because once the COVID
Yeah.
19 kind of subsides, that would be the best time to probably start seeking into
Right.
training and
And
um,
And a
you,
lot
you
of
know,
people are thinking, oh no, I'm gonna wait until after the crisis is over. But you can start training now. They're waiting for patients to come and do training. And look at this, Steve. I know you know what this is. Let me see. Uh, can you see it?
What is it?
I'm trying to show you. What is that? I'm trying to show you my centrifuge.
Tilt the phone down some.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, tilt it down some more.
There it is.
That round thing right
Yep.
there that look like a crock
Yep.
pot.
That's it.
So you spin your blood in
I
that.
spin my blood. Here's my tubes that I
Let me see. Move the phone to the right. No, the other way. You're missing the camera. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So when it's time for me to collect my blood, I got my balance tubes, and just like they teach you how to do it in the dialysis center, they teach me the same thing.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
patients think that, that by the time you finish training, believe me, you are a professional. I know how to,
Hmm.
that you learn how to do it.
Oh, absolutely. So we know that doing home dialysis, more free time to do stuff with your family, go to work.
Oh yeah.
Uh, if you want to travel, you don't really need a caregiver to help you if you're able-bodied to do it on your own. I mean, this seems like a
No
great,
brainer, right?
yeah, no brainer, no brainer.
And
So,
PD is even easier. PD, I'm telling you, I'm telling everybody, PD is the easiest thing to do.
so
It's
let me just play devil's advocate with that because even with
hmm
PD, I've seen some people had issues with that on Facebook,
right. Yes,
and
yes.
so um, we got to tell all the good
We gotta
about
tell
this
all. Yep.
because I mean you can mention PD, but some people uh, have experienced problems post surgical and had to push through it. So I mean it is a better form of treatment, but there could be that not always are, but for some people that could experience some complications behind that.
Yes. Now that and there are complications that can take place with home hemo as well. With
Mm-hmm.
PD, you run the risk of peritonitis, which is that infection. Um, you've got to follow those techniques. You got to wash those hands. You got to do that because anything that comes into contact with the catheter can give you peritonitis. So
Mm.
I mean that's a given right there. Um, Peritoneal dialysis does take time to adjust to. Your body is not used to having that fluid in your peritoneal cavity. So it's uncomfortable in the beginning. You feel bloated, you feel full because you have that fluid in there. But by the time, I'd say no more than a month, you start to feel better. It is difficult to get adjusted to. I'm not gonna lie. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult to get adjusted to at first, but once your skin stretches and your belly is used to that water, that fluid being inside, it it's a breeze. Now with hemodialysis, it's a lot of responsibility. You see all of that equipment I got. You have to know how to use those things. You
Mm-hmm.
got you have to learn. And as you continue to do it, as you do it over and over, just like you all at the dialysis center, the first time you hooked up a dialysis machine, I'm sure you didn't do it in 10 minutes, but
Right. Right.
after you start doing it, you get a system with hemodialysis. All you're doing is matching the colors. It's like a Fisher Price toy. You put the yellow with the yellow, the green with the green, the red with the red, It's a matching game.
Right, but it's a matching game with possible consequences if you're not careful.
If you're not careful, you can give yourself an air embolism, just like you can in a dialysis center. You're giving yourself fluid and you let the bag go empty. You can introduce air into your lines. However, the difference is it's you're less likely to get an embolism because as soon as that machine detects air, it shuts down. That's one of the things that I really love about home dialysis is if that system detects a problem like air, a blood clot, something like that, it shuts itself off.
So what say if a patient wanted to do this, but they was concerned if they didn't have nobody, because we know that anything could happen. Uh, what would a person do if they were at home doing this by themselves and they passed out? They wouldn't know they passed out if they passed out. So what happens then?
Okay. Well, I don't know about everybody else, but I feel when I'm getting sick. First to commence, you're supposed to take your blood pressure every half an hour, literally every half an hour. But I feel myself when my blood pressure is going down. I start to hear it in my ears. I start to feel a little funny. And what I do is, if you see me right now, I'm sitting right here. I reach my left hand out, and I open the two white clamps. It's right next to me. I can't miss it. And I start introducing saline and give myself a saline bolus. And you start letting that fluid run in. And you're a nurse, Steve. By the time you get 500 mil of saline, boy, you good money.
Right,
So um,
right,
that's my experience. Uh, I would never do treatment without somebody being in the house with me. That's me. Some people feel comfortable and they do treatment, but they're stable patients and they feel okay,
right.
you know. But there's always somebody in the house when I'm doing treatment.
Sure, sure.
And you schedule it around everybody's schedule. If I'm not doing treatment when I know my mother's down at the church and my daughter's at work, and I'm not going jumping on the machine.
Mm-hmm.
I wait until people are home so that I can before I do treatment.
Right, right. So as we come down, we ran over our broadcast, but
Oh
as we come to a close, it's been a good topic, and
yeah.
we're going to definitely have to revisit home dialysis again, because this seems like this is going to be the new wave, and that's due in part to the coronavirus getting people to think, be more uh, mindful of what's going on, um, with their health, especially with infections and all the above. So, what do you want people to know, Don, about home dialysis as we close?
I just want everybody to know that nobody can take better care of you than you, or nobody will take better care of you than your spouse or the person that loves you the most. Not to say anything against any dialysis technician or any dialysis nurse. I love them all. They do wonderful, wonderful work. However, the benefits that I have received and many, many other patients have received from doing their treatments at home, you can't deny that patients feel better and their outcomes are a lot better and their quality of life is much better. And just because you think you may not be able to do it, uh, just give yourself an opportunity. You can do it. I didn't want to put my own needles in, but I learned how to do that. And it was not as bad as I thought it was. I thought it was going to be terrible, but it was something that I did, and I do it to stay alive. And I want to see my grandchildren, and I'm sure a lot of us out there want to be around as long as possible. And nobody can take better care of you than you.
Right, right, absolutely. And then doing it at home, um, as far as doing 20 to 24 or 30 hours a week, opposed to getting only 9 hours a week. And that's a big difference of treatment.
It's a big difference in treatment, but everybody doesn't have to do what I do either. You don't have to do long, slow treatments like I do. I do a long, slow treatment because that's what I chose. That's what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
But they're short treatments. You can do treatment 5 days a week for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and you're still getting
Right.
more dialysis, but for shorter periods of time. I just chose to stretch out my treatments because I didn't want the Cadillac. I wanted the Rolls Royce.
Mm.
So I chose.
Right, right. You want that top shelf
So I
treatment,
wanted the
huh?
long, yes, I wanted the long, slow treatments.
So let me just say this, guys, as we close. Again, if you're new to dialysis, or you know someone, your family member, it's not medically beneficial unless you have acute kidney injury to decrease your time. Meaning, don't like ask the doctor if you're 4 hours and you need that, get that 12 hours instead of trying to get your your time reduced, unless you got, you really mindful, and you got your dietary in check and everything else. And if you're running 3 or 3.5 hours and you're getting some great clearances, that's great. But we know that the kidneys work 24 hours, 7 days a week. And to get anything close to that, you got to get more dialysis, because what it does, it cleans the body of waste and toxins, and it gets rid of fluid and a host of other
Right.
things that it does. But I
Yeah.
mean, and I know a lot of people who would like to get their treatment time cut 3 hours and hurry up and get out the unit. But it's not really beneficial. In fact, Don, I had a gentleman today. Uh, he reached out to me on Messenger and asked me. He says, "Hey, brother Steve, how are you? What does it mean if your skin tone is getting darker and in
Oh
a
boy.
dialysis patient?" And then I wrote to him, I'm not going to say his name. I said, "Hey, brother, I'm well.
No.
How about you? What that means, you're not getting enough dialysis. It's not clearing enough toxins out of your system. That's why we advocate for home dialysis. 30 hours of treatment a week compared to 9, based on someone dialyzing 3 hours per 3 times a week. A lot of times when a
Yeah.
person's skin starts getting dark, they're not getting enough treatment."
Yeah. And I'm not promoting myself, anything like that, but I don't have any makeup on, Steve. I mean, uh you could see my skin after 29 years. There's no ash, you know, no blemishes. My
Right,
That's one
right. You
thing
got
that
look
I
like you got
can
some good
say.
skin. I seen people on
Yeah.
on
That's one thing
Warriors
I can say.
on dialysis. I mean, really, skin has got really dark. I mean, they ran like three
Yeah.
hours. They were always getting off the machine early. The people I saw with their skin dark like that, maybe with
Yeah.
catheters,
Yeah.
not getting a good treatment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so doing home
It,
dialysis, that would help tremendously.
oh my gosh. It helps with so many things. Um, that taste in your mouth where your food doesn't taste quite
Like
right.
the ammonia
Um,
taste.
oh my gosh, I remember that taste. I remember that. And you could smell it. Sometimes you talk to people, I talk to people in the dialysis centers, and I could smell the uremic, you know, odor from their
Right.
breath. I could smell it,
And can you
you know.
just explain to people who may not know what uremic is?
Uremic is nitrogen and urea buildup in the blood. And the dialysis machine is just 3.5, 4 hour treatments doesn't remove enough of that. Next time we have a show, we're going to talk about the math of dialysis. And I'm going to really break it down to you about how much of your blood gets cleaned per dialysis treatment as
Okay, we can do
opposed
that
to a
in two
normal
weeks.
functioning kidney. Yeah,
We
I'm
do
going to
that.
bring that information for you because a lot of patients make a mistake of thinking one dialysis treatment cleans all the blood in your body, and that is so wrong. That's not correct. It's just not. You're only getting about 10 to 12% of your body's blood cleaned per dialysis treatment.
Wow. Wow. Yes. So we'll come back on May 10th to revisit that very important topic so warriors could see exactly what's going on with the cleaning of their blood.
Yeah, I'm gonna prepare that. I'm gonna prepare that for the next one.
All right. All right. Well, guys, I mean, this has been a great show. Don, as usual, you've been a great expert for resource, and we definitely appreciate you and your work that you do with the iPro ERSD network. What's network for, right?
Network two.
Oh, I'm sorry, Network 2 of New York COVID-19 Task Force. And we look forward to having you back May 10th to discuss KT over V, URR, and the importance of having your blood cleansed for a better quality of life.
All right. I'll see you all then. I love you all. Leslie, I'm praying for you, my sister. Hang in there. I'm telling you, I got you in prayer. And everybody else, be safe and be good to one another. Be good to yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Don, I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right. Thanks. Well, guys, this was a great broadcast of World Kidney News. Again, our thoughts and prayers are with Leslie Duvall. She's right now at Piedmont Hospital. She's battling COVID-19 and pneumonia at the same time. So she has a battle on two fronts and transplant warrior. So we definitely got to keep Leslie in our thoughts and prayers. Please send all the love and prayers to Leslie's page. Let me put her information up there. That's how you spell her name. Please send digital get well cards, whatever you can do to flood her timeline of thoughts and prayers so we can move with her spiritually through this process of defeating COVID-19 and pneumonia. Again, Leslie, our thoughts and prayers are with you. And we're definitely going to, man, I'm kind of like shocked because you're the first person I know, and it just hit me so hard when I saw it on the feed. So it kind of caught me off surprise. So that's why I seem like I am. So, but Leslie, you're definitely in my thoughts and prayers, and definitely reach out to you and see how you're doing in the next couple of days, and get some rest. Take care of yourself. Uh, Tell your mom I said hello. Hope she's doing well. And guys, again, flood Leslie's timeline if you can with thoughts and prayers on a speedy recovery from COVID-19 and pneumonia. With that being said, God bless you guys. We love you, Leslie. Take care. Thank you guys for watching World Kidney News with Steve L. Belcher. We'll be back next week with nephrologist from Montgomery County, Maryland, Dr. Jeffrey Perlmutter. He's affiliated, does work with the AAKP at times. He's going to be here on World Kidney News next week. So, guys, thank you so much. Have a great evening. Stay blessed and encouraged. With that being said, good night.